Hi everyone, I am the Wisconsin Indoor Hobbyist and welcome to my video on how to water succulents. One of my absolute favorite indoor hobbies is growing succulents. This time of year in Wisconsin, there's something really joyful about seeing beautiful plants growing happily inside your home while it's cold and snowy outside. For those of you who don't live in a northern climate, I just wanted to give you a quick peek at my winter weather. This YouTube video was shot in February 2021, and as you can see from my phone screenshot in northeast Wisconsin, it gets pretty cold. This morning, the temperature outside was minus 12 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind chill was minus 35. When it's really cold, I sometimes get ice forming on the inside of my windows. But amazingly, as long as my succulents don't touch the glass, they generally do fine by a sunny window. In the winter, a few of my diva succulents do like a grow light during long, gloomy stretches, but for the most part, my succulents are thriving, especially in my south-facing windows. And that's the goal, right? To have happy, thriving succulents no matter where you live. So let's talk watering, because the number one reason for succulent sadness is overwatering. Succulents like to grow in well-draining soil that goes completely dry between watering. And how often you water your succulents will depend on humidity, the temperature, how shallow the pot is, the type of pot it's in, and is the succulent actively growing? Some succulents are winter growers and summer dormant. Some are summer growers and winter dormant. If you're a beginning succulent hobbyist, I suggest finding a succulent dormancy table online and bookmark it. For example, this elephant bush can handle a bit more water, so it is in a glazed pot. This plant soil takes 2 weeks sometimes to completely dry out. Whereas this jade is planted in one of my homemade hypertufa pots, which absorbs water, so her soil dries out pretty quickly. She needs a good soak every week. Both of these plants are winter growers and summer dormant. I check my plants for water once a week, but succulents in these tiny terracotta pots might need water more often than that. As a side note, I just want to say that watering your props, your propagations, is different than watering your established plants. If you are growing baby succulents from leaves or cuttings or seeds or planting offsets, those babies will require frequent watering until they get established, and I will do a separate video on propagating succulents. If you're first getting started, I'd strongly suggest getting a moisture meter. You can order them online. I'm pretty sure these were less than $10 a piece. If you don't have a moisture meter, you can stick your finger down into the soil and feel for moisture. You can look for wrinkled leaves, and you also can pick up the pot and feel if the pot is light as a sign that the soil is dry. I think now's a good time to say all your succulent pots should definitely have drainage holes. You don't want water sitting at the bottom of your pot because your succulent roots will rot. I drill holes in the bottom of any pot that does not have one. And when planting, don't put rocks at the bottom of the pot because it will simply trap water. Just place some screening or mesh over the hole and then add your well-draining soil. Since you want your soil to go completely dry between watering, it's important to know if the soil is damp lower in the pot. Sometimes the top soil is completely dry, but you stick your moisture meter in the pot and the soil is moist. To use a moisture meter, stick it in the soil. If the meter reads anything higher than a 1, you should wait to water. And even if your meter reads a 1, but you know your plant is dormant, you can still wait a few days to water. If you are checking multiple plants, wipe the end off with your hands between checks to get a more accurate reading. And I want to add here, if you notice the bottom leaves of your succulent drying up, that doesn't necessarily mean your plant needs water. Lower leaves naturally shrivel up and die so new growth can come in. So crispy bottom leaves are probably okay, but swollen yellow leaves are a sign of overwatering. So this is where I water all my indoor plants that are light enough to carry. I water them over a sink. Yes, my sink is dripping and has been dripping for, 9 months, but it's a pandemic and we're not calling a service person willy-nilly, so let's try to ignore. At my watering station, I keep a flashlight. I like to look at my plants. Just make sure there's no pests, helps me see dry leaves that need to be plucked out. Make sure the plant is healthy. After I check the plant with the water meter, you can see this water meter reads a 1 and has read 1 for a few days, so I know it's time to give it a good soak. I water all my succulents using this large syringe. Love it because you can water in and around the plants. You want to water around and at the roots and not on the succulent if possible. So let's give it a good soak. Get it in there. This pot is bigger than most pots that I would put a succulent in. Succulents like to be kind of cramped in their pot, but sempervivums, they push out these babies. So I put it in this bigger pot just so that it had a place to stretch out. Normally my pots aren't this big. Maybe they're a ½ inch, maybe at the most an inch around the plant. So now, I don't know if you can see this, but the water is dripping out the bottom. And that's perfect. I'll let it sit here until that dripping stops, and then I'll place it back where it belongs. I bought my watering syringes online. I think a 3-pack of 150 milliliter syringes was $10.99. After I water my plants, I set them on plastic boot trays or metal drying racks. If you have just a few plants, you can put them on their own individual saucers after watering. Plastic or ceramic saucers will protect your furniture or windowsills, but just note that terracotta saucers don't protect wood surfaces because they allow moisture to go through. If you found this video helpful and would like to see more videos about succulents and other indoor hobbies, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, and stay warm, everybody.